AEW Dynamite from September the 24th, 2025 was a boring and bland show. There were some things that happened on this show, but it was still boring and bland nonetheless. Tony Khan's massive announcement was basically he just revealed the women's tag team championships, which is fine, I guess, but it's not really all that important. AEW has a very, very weak women's division, and it doesn't really amount to anything because those titles are just going to end up on Collision, just like how the trios titles have, sending with the international title and all that. So, it is what it is. It's not that important, if we're being honest. So let's go ahead and get into the review. We kicked the show off with Hangman Adam Page backstage. He says that Kyle Fletcher took him to the limit at All Out, but he's still a champion coming out of it. And he hopes that Kyle Fletcher's watching tonight as Hangman will defend his title against ROH Pure Champion Lee Moriarty, telling Lee he better be on his A game tonight. Okay, that is fine, I guess. Do I care? Not really. Moving on, this leads us into the first match of the night. Bandito, and Brody King, they retain the AEW World Tag Team Championships against the Man, a.k.a. the Gates of Agony. So, the Gates of Agony, a few days ago, just defeated the Hurt Syndicate, and now they are back looking up at the lights again. It is what it is. Match was fine. I still have no idea why they are called the Demand. Who gives a damn? But it's kind of a weird name. Like, what are they demanding, I guess? I guess they're demanding television time or more money. I don't know. I really don't give a shit. Moving on. So, this leads us into the conglomeration. So, Mark Briscoe basically just talks about the mystery partner. And then he talks about how they're all going to wear sunglasses and all that, and freshly orange squeeze and all that stuff. It's basically just talking about Orange Cassidy making his return. Who cares? It's not that important. Moving on. This leads us into a backstage segment involving Chris Statlander and Harley Cameron. So Chris Statlander addresses her title match tonight in the ongoing situation with the Death Riders. And that was it. So this leads us into Hangman Adam Page defeating Lee Moriarty, who got a pretty decent video package. It's basically just talking about the stuff that he's been doing in Collision. Who gives a damn, because nobody watches Collision. Lee Moriarty is okay, but it's not really that important. Match went kind of long, in my opinion. It should have really lasted about 5 minutes, but it went about, I think, 8 to 10 minutes, but it is what it is. Hangman wins via the Deadeye. Who gives a damn? Moving on, this leads us into Edge and Christian. They are backstage. They address what FTR did at All Out, with Edge saying he had to go. He doesn't know if he's coming back. Christian Cage says he doesn't have a family anymore, so go take care of yours. Edge reminds Christian that he does have family, and then they shake hands. So this is cool. Edge is basically just taking a hiatus. No clowns. He's not going back to WWE. This is just an angle to write Edge off television for maybe about a month or two. Or maybe he'll come back close to WrestleDream. We don't know. But he's just being written off. He's just taking some time off. It's fine. He's not gone. He's not going to WWE at all, period. Neither Edge and Christian will go back to WWE. If they do, it will probably be just to maybe be producers or whatever. I don't know. But I doubt they'll ever go back to WWE at all. Moving on. So this leads us into FTR and Stokely Hathaway. They get into the ring. So Cash Miller takes the mic and he says that he'd like to do this himself. He says that they deserve the reaction they're getting, claiming that the actions they did on Saturday were not meant to go that way. Then he calls out Edge for having his so-called childhood best friends and wife out. Stokely Hathaway says to forgive Beth for what she did to him at All Out. He says that he'd be running up the ramp, not running away from from Beth to introduce herself, even suggesting that he allowed Beth to spear him and carry him to the back. He says that Edge and Christian needs Beth to win, and that's the worst part, that Beth doesn't even work here. So Dax gets on the mic and says that he was advertised to come out here on live television and apologize. He would not apologize for dropping Edge and Christian on their heads and their necks, but he never intended to try to hurt Beth. He learned a lesson from that night, and he hopes that Beth did too. He'll never lay his hands on a woman, though with Beth, he uses that word loosely. So he's basically trying to call her a bitch, which is crazy. So Willow Nightingale, she comes out. She gets a really good reaction. She addresses the fake apology from FTR. She turns her attention to Beth Phoenix, a.k.a. Beth Copeland. Or Beth, Mrs. Edge. Basically, let's just call her that, Mrs. Edge. She talks about how much of an inspiration Beth is to her. Even seeing women like Beth are the reason that Willow came back from a broken freaking neck, which is good. That was a reference to Kurt Angle, which is good stuff there. Great stuff. But most women like Beth are the reason a woman like Willow does not take shit from guys like FTR. So she implores them to give their apology to another go, before Stokely interrupts and says it must be past Willow's bedtime. So Willow, she hits Stokely in the head. FTR gets involved, and then Speedball, Jet Speed, they come out to make the save, basically. So that's cool. I do like this. Willow Nightingale kicks major ass. She's good. She's a lovable, likable babyface, and I wish they had more in store for her, but they really don't. She's just there just to be there. But Willow Nightingale is a very, very good promo. This is a really good promo here. Thoroughly enjoyed this. Moving on. So, we cut backstage to MJF during All Out. So he talks about everything he's done so far for AEW over the past few years, and all the doubts that come from it. MJF says that something's missing. He's not MJF, but a caricature. My bad, I'm sorry. He's not MJF, but a caricature. I apologize. He calls the tracks, my bad. He calls the tax his doubts, saying he can't come back until he's himself again. But more importantly, he'll come back only when he's his most dangerous self. MJF takes a tack out of himself, talking about eating his doubts up and spitting them out. As he does so with the tack, he says that he'll be back to do things the only way he knows how, whether they like it or not, his way. So I do like this. This is cool. This makes sense. I don't know how long MJF is going to be gone. It seems like he's going to turn into a more sadistic heel. We're probably going to see a more darker side of MJF, which is great. Hopefully they can build a really good, serious faction around Max. I think that would be great. But MJF has been directionless for quite some time. Not just him, but Hangman Page as well. Hangman's been directionless with the title. That's just facts. But maybe we'll see MJF reappear at WrestleDream. If not, we'll probably see him at Full Gear. So, there's that. Moving on, this leads us into the conglomeration. Hologram, Mark Briscoe, and Orange Cassidy, who made his return, who cares, against the Don Callis family, Okada, Takeshita, and Hechicero. And who won this, because I didn't watch this match at all? The conglomeration, who gives a damn? So, whatever. I guess Hechicero takes the pin. I don't know. I don't give a damn. Who cared about this shit? So Kyle Fletcher, he shows up towards at the post match. He said that he proved on Saturday that he belongs in the main event, saying that he knows he'll be world champion someday. Yeah, right. And he looks at the ring and sees a bunch of dorks before acknowledging Hologram's long-running winning streak. He notes that Hologram is 34-0, or should he say 34 and scared of Kyle Fletcher. And then basically Kyle Fletcher challenges Hologram to a match next week. And he's going to put the TNT Championship on the line. So who cares about this shit? Kyle Fletcher is going to go back to Collision. It's not really that important. Whatever. Who gives a damn? Moving on, this leads us into Mina Shirakawa. She talks about her reign as interim women's world champion before saying she fights for Tony and herself when she faces Chris Statlander for the AEW Women's World Championship. All right, that's fine. Moving on. We get a video package of Jack Perry reuniting with Luchasaurus. That saw the highs and lows of all kinds to lash out against the Young Bucks at All Out. And then Jurassic Express will return next week. Who gives a damn? Moving on. This leads us into Claudio Castagnoli defeating Powerhouse Hobbs. The match was pretty cool. But it was a bore because Claudio wins via a cradle pinfall for the 1, 2, 3. I'm like, what the hell? Basically like a roll-up. I don't know. It is what it is. Who cares? So the Ops show up, and then they kind of are taken back by the Death Riders. Heyman comes out to make the save, basically, and that was it. So this is going to set up for a 6-man tag next week. All right, that's fine. Moving on, we talk about Tony Khan's announcement, which was just basically just introducing the Women's World Tag Team Championships. Who cares? They're going to have new champions crowned soon. I don't give a single fuck about this because it's not important. Main event of the evening, Chris Statlander retains her AEW Women's World Championship against Mina Shirakawa. Match was okay. Post-match, Wheeler Yuta, Wheeler Yuta, he hugged Chris Statlander. Wheeler Yuta is probably, 5'6" or 5'7", maybe at best 5'8". Statlander is probably, 6'1", 6'2". So Statlander hugs Wheeler Yuta. Then it seems like she's going to join the Death Riders. She does not. She clotheslines Wheeler Yuta, gets a massive reaction from that. She flips off Jon Moxley like 2 or 3 times. She goes through the crowd and dips out. So she has her and Harry Cameron. They have to the crowd. Darby shows up with a flamethrower. Darby scares off the Death Riders with the flamethrower. Darby gets on the mic, and then he challenges Jon Moxley to an I Quit match. And that was the end of the show for WrestleDream. So that's fine. But again, an I Quit match for Darby and Moxley at WrestleDream, I don't care. I really don't. I'm over this stuff. Like, what are they feuding over? Again, if Darby did not climb Mount Everest at all, and he could have waited for that, he could have been world champion. He could have been in Heyman Adam Page's position right now. That's where Darby could have been at for about a good 3-4 months, and then he could have lost, and then he could have climbed Mount Everest then. But Darby's just wanting his revenge on Moxley. And the Death Rider storyline is not over with, for whatever reason. They continue to add more members and stuff and all that jazz. It's just not important. Like, you shouldn't give a shit about this at all. Statlander retaining was the right decision. She wins via the seat belt and all that jazz. Dynamite, like I said before, was kind of very, very lackluster and boring. They don't have any stars right now. Their top stars are injured. Swerve and Ospreay, they're out with injury. Omega, same thing because of diverticulitis. Edge and MJF and Christian are going to go find themselves apparently and take time off. So we don't know when MJF will come back. We don't know when Edge will come back. Hopefully Edge will come back either at WrestleDream or Full Gear. But I don't know. We have to wait and see on that. But the matches on the show were kind of boring. I did like Hobbs and Claudio Castagnoli. I thought that was pretty good. And that was kind of the only good match I liked on the show. Well, Also, Chris Statlander and Mina was good. That was a good match too. So yeah, there is that. But it seems like all in all, the AEW is directionless, basically. They're adding more titles. They don't need to have women's tag team championships. They just don't need to. They need to better the women's roster. They have way too many titles. They have probably about like 25 titles, basically. And they don't need that at all. They just don't. I forgot to mention, they were in Pittsburgh. And you know who did not show up? That being one Miss Britt Baker. And it does seem like she's done. I would not be surprised that either by the end of this year or early next year, Britt Baker will be gone from AEW. She's done. She's all but done with AEW. The fact that she wasn't even on the show at all, not even a video package, nothing, nothing. It's just, she's done. She's done. I could see Tony Khan being done with Britt Baker. She's done. She is all but done. She will be in WWE sometime next year. I'm gonna put it out there now. She will probably be in WWE early 2026. Well, I'm not gonna say early, but I'm gonna say within the first 4 months of 2026. So anywhere between January and April of next year, Britt Baker will be in NXT. She will. It's time, bro. It's time. Tony doesn't give a damn about Britt Baker. He's moved on. He's moved on for her. The women's division has suffered tremendously because he's just pushed Mercedes and Toni Storm, and that's it. When you had a lot of other women that could have deserved the push, you know. But it is what it is. There's nothing that can be done about that. But Dynamite, man, it's just it's boring and it's no direction. It's totally directionless. I mean, Hangman, he's got no real challengers in sight. I don't know. I really don't fucking know. But what did you guys think of Dynamite? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.